A talking frog. An older gentleman was playing a round of golf. Suddenly, his ball sliced and landed in a shallow pond. As he was attempting to retrieve the ball, he discovered a frog who, to his great surprise, started to speak.
"Kiss me, and I will change into a beautiful princess, and I will be yours for a week."
He picked up the frog and placed it in his pocket. As he continued to play golf, the frog repeated its message.
"Kiss me, and I will change into a beautiful princess, and I will be yours for a whole month."
The man continued to play his golf game, and once again the frog spoke out.
"Kiss me, and I will change into a beautiful princess, and I will be yours for a whole year."
Finally, the old man turned to the frog and exclaimed, "At my age, I'd rather have a talking frog." A blonde was complaining to his friend about being constantly called a dumb blonde. His friend tells him, "Go do something to prove them wrong. Why don't you learn all the state capitals or something?" The blonde thinks this is a great idea and locks himself up for 2 weeks studying. The next party he goes to, some guys are making dumb blonde comments to him. He gets all indignant and claims, "I'm not a dumb blonde. In fact, I can name all the state capitals." They don't believe him, so he dares them to test him. One of them says,
"Okay, what's the capital of Montana?"
The blonde smiles widely and says, "That's easy. It's M." A big decision. A 6-year-old boy walked up to his father one day and announced,
"Daddy, I'd like to get married."
His father replied hesitantly, "Sure, son. Do you have anyone special in mind?"
"Yes,"
answered the boy.
"I want to marry Grandma."
"Now wait a minute," said his father. "You don't think I'd let you get married with my mother, do you?"
"Why not?"
the boy asked.
"You married mine."
Recently, a guy in Paris nearly got away with stealing several paintings from the Louvre. However, after planning the crime, getting in and out past security, he was captured only 2 blocks away when his Ecoline ran out of gas. When asked how he could mastermind such a crime and then make such an obvious error, he replied, "I had no money to buy the gas to make the van go." Two elderly couples were enjoying friendly conversation when one of the men asked the other, "Fred, how was the memory clinic you went to last month?" "Outstanding," Fred replied. "They taught us all the latest psychological techniques, visualization, association. It has made a big difference for me." "That's great. What about the name of the clinic?" Fred went blank. He thought and thought, but couldn't remember. Then a smile broke across his face, and he asked, "What do you call that flower with the long stem and thorns?" "You mean a rose?" "Yes, that's it." Then he turned to his wife and asked, "Rose, what was the name of that clinic?" A French boy said to his friend,
My younger sister is 10 years old, but she can speak English rather well.
His friend smiled and replied,
It isn't a strange thing. When my family traveled to London, I met a little girl who was about 5 years old, and she spoke English like the wind.
Doorbell. Everyone loved Priest John. He was a happy, jolly fellow, always willing to help or lend a hand. One time, John was walking down the street, humming a tune, when he saw a little boy trying to reach the doorbell of a nearby house.
Hey there, Sonny,
said John.
Let me help you out.
And with that, John reached out and pressed the bell.
Anything else I can do for you?
Asked John with a smile.
Yes,
said the boy.
Run! We've only got a few seconds before they come.
Is this my train?
No, it belongs to the railway company.
Don't try to be funny. I meant to ask if I can take this train to New Delhi.
No, madam, I'm afraid it's too heavy. Soap. The teacher asked, John, what are 4 basic elements in nature?
John answered, Fire, air, soil, and...
And what? The teacher asked. Try to remember.
And...
John was embarrassed. The teacher knew that his pupil couldn't remember that the 4th element was water. Therefore, he gave a hint. What do you clean your hands with? John excitedly screamed,
Soap!
High fever. My 4-year-old daughter had a terrible case of the flu. She was achy, had a high fever, and was terribly hoarse. After waiting in the waiting room at the doctor's office for over an hour, we were finally admitted to see the doctor. After the usual routine of listening to her breathing and checking her ears, the doctor looked my daughter in the eye and said,
So, what would you say is bothering you the most?
Without skipping a beat, my daughter promptly answered,
Billy, he always breaks my toys.